Today's math puzzle comes from the AMC 10 math competition in the year 2015. And it tells us that the square root of pi comma a and square root of pi comma b lie on this equation y squared plus x to the fourth is equal to 2x squared y plus 1. And it asks us to find the absolute value of the difference between a and b. And I think it asks us for the absolute value because then it doesn't matter which value we find for a and which value we find for b. We just want to find the positive difference between the two. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into this. This one's pretty straightforward. What we want to do is just plug in the square root of pi into this equation and get our two solutions for y and plug them into this difference. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's plug in the square root of pi. So we get y squared plus pi squared. That's the square root of pi to the fourth is equal to 2 pi. That's the square root of pi squared times y plus 1. So we know from here, we can rearrange this to get y squared minus 2 pi y plus pi squared minus 1 is all equal to 0. So what we can do is we can look at this and see that we have a difference of squares here of y and pi. So we have y minus pi all squared, and that, like I said, gives us these three terms. So we'll have y times y, that's y squared, y times minus pi, that's minus pi y times minus pi again, that gives us this minus 2 pi y, and then we have minus pi times minus pi, which gives us plus pi squared. And then we have this minus 1 on the end. And we'll go ahead and move that back over to the other side. So we get y minus pi all squared is equal to 1. And then we'll take the square root of both sides. So we get y minus pi is equal to plus minus 1. And then we get y is equal to pi plus minus 1. And those are our two solutions. So we know that y is equal to pi minus 1 and pi plus 1 when we plug in the square root of pi. But now all we need to do is find the difference between the two. So let's go ahead and do that. We have pi plus 1 minus pi plus 1. That's from wrapping a minus sign around this term here and then having this term here out front. So this term is our b, and this term is our a. So this is a, this is b, like so. And now we know that pi minus pi is 0 and 1 plus 1 is 2. So we know that this whole thing is equal to 2, which means that a minus b, absolute value, is equal to 2. And I think that's enough for now.